Hello friends, welcome back. Today we will see object-oriented programming. In this, my video, we will learn the basic concepts of OOP. There are total 8 basic concepts of the OOP. We will see each and every concepts in detail one by one. Here we are going to learn the first concept known as object. In object-oriented programming, the attempts are made to break a problem into some components called objects. They are the basic elements of the object-oriented system, and they are also known as entities of the OOP. Here we will say object is a unique entity which contains data and function together in an object-oriented programming language. Let's move ahead and we will see what are the types of an object. There are two types of an object. Number one, which is known as real world object, and number two, that is a software object. This real world object, they are the visible, they are tangible, that we can feel them, we can touch them. Real world objects, they are chair, table, book, pen, etc. Consider an example, that is potato as an object. Potato, which consists some characteristics and a behavior. The characteristics of the potato are, that is a color, its shape, and a behavior, that is it is used for making a vegetables, as well as you make with the help of the potato we can make the chips also. Next, that is we are considering, that is a software object. These software objects, which are invisible objects, they are payroll system, program, online reservation system, etc. Consider student as an object. In this, student is carrying some characteristics. For example, student name, student studying in the class, then student's roll number, marks, etc. As well as students consist behavior. Behavior means these are the functions. That is, for the students we accept the data, we display the data of the students, we do some calculations on the student data, that is on the calculations of the marks obtained in various subjects, etc. Thus, we will say object consists of, that is a state or the characteristics, and a behavior or the function. Thus, here are the few important points of an object. An object can pass the informations to the another object and receive the information as well. That is, via the object, that is we can communicate from the one entity to the another entity. Very important point, when you declared an object, the class gets an identity. That means that is a memory gets allocated for the class members with the help of the new keyword when we instantiate an object. Thus, we will say object is an real-time entity. When we declared an object, kindly note it, that is when we declared an object, that time only the class member variables gets the memory. So in simple words, object give life to the class. I hope the concept of object is clear to you. We will move ahead for the second concept, that is class. For the class, we will say the class, the object and the class. Actually, they are the two basic principles of the object-oriented programming language. They can be considered as a two sides of a coin which cannot be disintegrated. Class in object-oriented programming system is basically a blueprint or a set of protocol. All of you know that is a protocol means it is having certain rules. Each object of a class is required to follow the protocols as defined in the class. For example, if we define a class car, then different types of the car like Maruti, Santro, Hyundai, etc., they are referred as objects. A class is simply a representation of type of object. It is a blueprint or the plan or the template that describes the detail of an object. A class is a blueprint from which the individual objects are created. As we already said, that is a class is a prototype for an object. Each object belonging to a specific class must possess the data and the methods within that class. It produces objects of the similar type. Hence, the class is termed as object factory. In another word, we will say that is for a single class, there may be n number of objects. For example, consider a class known as TYIT, and for the TYIT, there are the 100 students. So all the 100 students, they may known as object, including the faculties and the other details. Class is also known as user defined data type. These things, that is, we will learn it afterwards, okay, with the help of the program. Object is an instance of a class. Why we are saying object is an instance of a class? Because when we create an object, that time the member of a class get instantiated. Let's see the example. Here our class name is simple class. For the class simple class, there are that is class member variable, that is a and b, and there are the two methods, that is get ab and the display. And through the main method, we are creating, that is a simple class. S is equal to new simple class. Here we will say, that is my S is an object. Here my S is an object, and with the help of this S, we are calling the get AB method. When we call this when we declare this object, that time the memory gets occupied for the both A and B. Next, that is when we are saying S dot get AB, it will call the AB method. Afterwards, S dot display, it will call the display method. Hope you are understanding. That is, here this is a class name, this is an object name, and this new operator, yeah, the new keyword which is used for dynamically assigning the memory for the class member variable. In my coming video, we will see in detail all these things. Now here, that is, we will see that is a differentiate points between objects and a class. Differentiate points between the objects and the class. Object is an instance of a class, whereas class is a blueprint or the template. Object is a real world entity such as pen, laptop, which we can touch it. They are having, that is a physical existence. And a class is a group of similar objects. Class is a logical entity, whereas object is a physical entity. Object is created with the help of the new keyword, whereas class is declared using the class keyword. Object is recreated many times as per the requirement. As we said, that is, object is an factory. Class is declared only once. Object allocates memory when it's created. Class does not allocate any memory when it is created. We are going to move ahead for our the third principle, that is encapsulation. Here you can find the diagram. In this, you can find the Cadbury. Okay. Also, there is a capsule, and for the capsule, we can find out that there is an outer cover as well as there are the inner, that is a medicine. This inner medicine, which is known as a variable, there are the methods, and the outer shell, which is known as that is a class. So here what we are finding, that is when example, that is when we are going when we require some medicine, we go to the medical store. Let's say that is we want to buy some medicine. We go over there and we ask the chemist for the particular the medicine. Only the chemist which he or she is having the access for that medicines. Now, this chemist who knows that what medicines he or she want to supposed to give it to you. Thus, this is reducing the risks of taking, that is unintended, yeah, not intended medicines for you, yeah, not suggested medicines for you. But in many other situations, suppose for the mall and all, it is an open thing. Openly, that is a we are taking. So there, that is an encapsulation concept will not apply. But we are saying that is a somewhere, that is a data is needed to be protected. So here, that is we are saying medicine, which is a member variable, chemist is a method, and we, that is you and me, are the external applications. Thus here, through this diagram, we will clear it, that is what is exactly the class. We can find out that is class is at the outermost layer, and this outermost layer means we can find out it is look like as a shell, and within that shell, that is there is a variable as well as a method. So if that shell is there, then definitely that shell is doing, that is a protection work, protective work. Encapsulation. So through the encapsulation, data is accessible to the outside world and only to those functions which are wrapped in the class can be accessed. Encapsulation solves the problem at the implementation level. A class can specify how it is accessible, each of its member, that is variable, properties and methods, is to code outside of the class. Encapsulation, thus we can say encapsulation means hiding the important features of a class which is not being needed to be exposed outside of a class and exposing only the necessary things of a class. Point to be noted. Encapsulation is a wrapping of data and functions. In our previous diagram, we have seen that is a capsule outer structure, which is a wrapper thing. So even that is, if you will see, that is a Cadbury vapor, dairy milk vapor, which is also, that is a, we can say that is, it is an encapsulation. That wrapper is doing the very important job of protecting the inner material, yeah, inner ingredient from the outside. That is a natural humidity, yeah, moisture, etc. So encapsulation is wrapping of data and functions of a class together so that they can be applied as a unit to perform any operation. Let's move ahead, and here we are seeing that is an abstraction. See very carefully the diagram. In this picture, what we are finding, a person is doing something with the help of his fingertip, and over here we can find out his fingertips, that is its read, okay, and through this, that is something is happening, some code, yeah, some, that is a biometrics things are going to be explored. See, the abstraction refers it is representation of necessary features without including more details or the explanations. See, you have a car, for example, that is you have a car, and in order to drive it, you are only aware of some essential external features such as steering, accelerator, clutch, brake, gear. Have you ever thought what changes would have taken place in the engine of a car when you just put the key? How does the gearbox manage to change the speed? And there are the innumerable questions, but definitely many questions answers we are not aware. So in this, for the driving a car, that is a you just need how that is essential features without knowing the mechanical things. So this act of driving a car is also known as abstractions. So data abstractions is a programming technique that relies on the separation of interface and implementation. Oh, very nice second example. Here, when we press a keyboard, that is key from the keyboard, automatically the character appear on the screen. How exactly it's work? I don't know. What exactly happened? How electronically things are present over there? So this is also my keyboard is also the one wonderful example of the abstraction. Another example, our TV remote, which is also one of the example of the abstraction. We just handle that is we just do the surfing of the channel, increase the voice, decrease the voice, and automatically the volume or the something is happen. So my TV remote is again the best example which is working on the abstraction concept. Thus, abstraction refers to an act of representing essential features without including the background details. The data members are accessed only through the related functions. Since a class uses the prototype of abstraction, it is called abstract data type. Oh, we are going to move ahead for the next concept, which is known as inheritance. It is very easy and a familiar concept. Okay, so inheritance is the term which is derived from the biology. The literal meaning of the inheritance is acquiring the characteristics. You will have studied in the biology that the characteristics are transferred to the child from their parent. So here we are finding that is a grandparent's characteristics are transferred to the father, father characteristics are transferring to the child. Same way, the another example, vehicle is a main, that is a main class. And for, we can say car is a type of a vehicle, truck is also the type of a vehicle. In this car, we can find out there are the petrol car, there is a diesel car, there is a electric car, okay? And even that is a diesel petrol car, afterwards we can distinguish that is a Maruti, Hyundai, Suzuki, etc., etc. So, the mechanism of deriving a new class from the old class is called the inheritance. The old class is known as a base class, and whereas the new class, which is known as a derived class. Inheritance is very powerful features of the OP. Why? That we will say soon. For example, consider an example of a family of three members. So having a mother, father and son named Jack. Jack father is tall and dark. Jack mother is short and fair. Might be Jack is tall with the fair skin. So here we can say that is a Jack is carrying the properties of his father as well as mother. But I am not saying that is a Jack is exactly the duplicate of his father or the mother. Definitely, Jack is having its own characteristics too. So through inheritance, though through effective use of inheritance, you can save a lot of time in your programming and also reduce the errors. which in turns will increase the quality of work and the productivity. Thus, here we will define what is an inheritance. Inheritance is a process in which object of one class can link and share some common property. Some, here the word some. It may, that is some, it may be all, but with the additional property added in that derived class. So that is a inheritance is a process in which the object of one class can link and share some common properties of the object with another class. Oh, we are coming on the next concept, which is known as polymorphism. What we are seeing? Oh, speak. The sound, speak sound of the duck is different, wolf is different, cat is different, but all are speaking. Here, polymorphism is a Greek term which means ability to take more than one form. That is, ability in many forms. For example, plus operator. With the help of the plus operator, we can do the addition, the sum of the two numbers, as well as we can do the sum of, that is a two string also. So same way functions can be overloaded. So here polymorphism means that is a same functions. Here we can find that is a print is a function. So print, print and print. But the same function name, it can be overloaded with the different meaning. For example, some functions may take two arguments. That is a sum 5, 7 or the sum 4, 6, 8. It means that is I am calling this function by passing the two integer value, or we are calling this function by passing the three integer value. So this is a differentiation. So single function print we can use for drawing the shape of a circle, rectangle or star, etc. So hence, polymorphism is a process of using a functions for more than one purpose. It might be possible, that is that I want to write in my program, that is I want a particular the function name as a print, and in my subclass function you also want to mention the function that is a print. So both of us, we want that is the same function name, and then definitely this concept is known as a polymorphism. So polymorphism allows the use of different internal structure of the objects by keeping the same external interface. In my next video, definitely that is we will see the types of polymorphism. Polymorphism, which is a very deep concept. In this, we are going to say that is polymorphism is doing that is a binding. Polymorphism binding is of two types, static binding and a dynamic binding. But here we are going to see the dynamic binding. So binding means that is a link between the procedure call and a code to be executed. It is a process of linking of a function's call to the actual code of the functions at the runtime. This is in dynamic binding, the actual code to be executed is not known to the compiler until it is running. So therefore, this is known as the dynamic binding, the late binding. For example, compiler come to know at the runtime that which functions of a sum to be called, either the two argument, the three argument. Hence, dynamic binding is a process that links the function's calls with function signature at the runtime or during the executions. Here we are moving ahead with the message passing. Here we are finding that is a two persons. They are doing the conversation. So this conversation means that is they are passing the message until and unless both of them language is clear. They are understanding. So definitely they are having that is a healthy communication. Here that is a sending object, which is sending that is a message to the receiving object, and receiving object is also sending that is some message to the sending object. So what the sending object is asking, give your name, and this receiving object is giving the name. So we can say that is he passed the message and we also send the response. So objects can communicate with each other by passing message, the same as people passing message to each other. This concept already we have discussed in the object topic. Object can send or receive message or information. Message passing involves the following basic steps. Number one, creating a class that defines the objects and their behavior. Creating objects from the class definition and establishing the communications between the object. Concept of message passing makes it easier to talk about building systems that directly model or simulate their real world counterpart. Here we can find out that is faculty as an object, management is an object, as well as a student is an object. So these things are that is communicating with each other by passing a message. So student can pass the data a message to the management object can pass the data, yeah, the request to the faculty, and faculty can communicate like this way. So each of them are communicating via the message passing, and here the object is involved in this process. Thus, what we can say that is we cannot access the data directly via the object only, that is we can access the data. And that's why that is OP, that is object oriented programming, is very powerful because your data is secure. No one, that is outside entity, cannot access your data until and unless that is your members are not accessible openly or the freely. You can, that is outside entity can communicate to the inner one, that is the other one object or the other one methods. Benefits of the OP. User can create new data type or the user defined data type by making class. Code can be reused by using inheritance. Data can be hiding from outside world by using encapsulation. Operators or the functions can be overloaded by using the polymorphisms or same functions, or operators can be used for multitasking. Benefits. Objects-oriented systems can be easily upgraded from small OR system to the large system. It is easy to partitions work for same project. Message passing techniques make communication easier. Software complexity can be managed easily. Maintenance cost is less. Simple to implement. Hope all of you are cleared with this entire the tutorial, that is the basic principles of OP. We have learnt over here that is a total 8 principles, and among these that is a object and class is very important. Hope please do like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you. In my next video, definitely we will learn the new exciting topic. Thank you to all, and please, if any doubt, that is write in the comment section. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day. Stay safe.